Hello, everybody. I'm Roberta Quarta, project coordinator of Antigone's Pride project. Welcome to everyone to this new cycle of online masterclass within the project Antigone's Pride Performing Society, a project promoted by Astragali Teatro in partnership with the University of Salento, Augmented and Virtual Reality Lab, the Grotowski Institute from Poland, Theatro Tsi Zakynthos from Greece, and the University of Madrid Foundation of Dance Alicia Alonso from Spain. So welcome to everybody. The project is in the, let's say, more than the middle of its journey. And we have just finished to implement the EcoArts residence in Poland, coordinated by the Grotowski Institute. And just before, in April, the EcoArts residence in Spain, coordinated by the Foundation of Dance Alicia Alonso. And now in a few days, we will start the last EcoArts residence in Lecce in Italy. You can find more information on the project on antigonespride.eu, the website of the project. And we had the great opportunity in the project to work with the artists from different cultural backgrounds and to work as well on the experimentation of different languages, performing arts language, and innovative technologies. In particular, one of the focuses of the project is connected to augmented and virtual reality. And the partner of the project, Augmented and Virtual Reality Lab of the University of Salento, has developed this important aspect of our project. Today, we had the privilege and the chance to have as a speaker of this online masterclass, Marie Albert, from the company Dark Euphoria from France, with a very important experience in this field. Thank you very much, Marie Albert, for joining us. And I am very pleased to give the floor to Professor Lucio De Paulis to introduce our guest and then to develop this meeting. Thank you very much, Marie Albert. Thank you, Lucio.
Thanks a lot for Berta. Thanks a lot for joining us, Marie. And let me introduce briefly, and then the floor will be yours. Just to find information about your life, Marie Albert is passionate about transdisciplinary innovation and crossroad between art, science, and technology. She has 15 years of experience in the development of arts and innovation projects. She joins Dark Euphoria at the beginning of 2021 to produce artistic experiences playing with immersive interactive technologies. She has a passion for performing arts. She's curating of the event Performing Arts Digital Stages at Festival d'Avignon. Okay, I'm very, very happy to have with us Marie, and the floor is yours in order to show us your presentation. You can share, of course, the screen if you prefer.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Lucio, for the invitation. I will actually share my screen. Sorry. So is it okay? Can you see my slide? Okay. So yes, I'm Marie Albert. As you said, I'm a director and producer at Dark Euphoria. We are a production agency based in Marseille, with a strong focus on art and technology projects. And we especially developed the last 2 years some projects connected with performing arts. So we are interested in the question of how immersive and interactive technologies can transform or enhance or enrich live performance, and how to give creators access to these new tools, and how to support their projects dealing with these, let's say, innovative technologies or innovative formats. So first of all, I wanted to introduce a bit what is my job, like XR, extended reality producer. So let's say this big machine that you see on the picture, it's a bit the machine where all our projects are going through. So it's quite a complex machine. And let's say we are a bit the hub between so many people and so many interactions, and our role most of the time is to accompany projects from the very beginning. So like, let's say the meeting with an artist from the writing stage. So let's say the artistic concept or the artistic intention of a project till its presentation to the public. So we go through the writing, through the development of prototype, through the production and fabrication of the project, until the phase of finding the partners who want to show the project. And of course, one of our big roles is also to fund the project, to find the fund for the production and everything. So it's a lot of phases, it's a lot of skills involved, and we talk to a lot of people, artists, creative technologists, developers, cultural institutions, cultural venues, institutions, funding, partners, and everything. So it's quite an intense activity, but it's from my perspective and from my experience now, I think it's a position where you can learn the most about how this hybrid project and this project mixing art and technologies are made, and get some very tangible and concrete knowledge, because we talk a lot now about AI, about XR, about immersive technologies, and a lot of times these keywords are a bit like they stay sometimes just keywords, and we don't really know what realities are hidden behind this. So my objective today was to give you maybe a bit of behind the scene, trying to be very concrete with you, trying to also answer your questions about how this project mixing technology, innovative technologies, and performing arts are made. What does it involve? What are the challenges that they bring, and how we try to answer these challenges. Sorry. So first, I wanted to talk a bit about just giving you, of course, we will not go in this detail, but just giving you a kind of broad perspective on what kind of new tools we are dealing with when we work with art from the performing arts field, wanting to create with technologies, because of course this keynote is called extended reality and performing arts, but extended reality, it's like it recovers like mixed reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality. But a lot of times this project mixing XR and performing art, they use a lot of other kind of technologies like motion capture, like 3D volumetric capture, sometimes artificial intelligence, sometimes photogrammetry, mapping and video projection, Internet of Things, haptic, also immersive sound, and audio spatialization. So it's, I would say, most of the time it's not one technology, but it's a combination of different technologies. And this is really important, because it means also that most of the time the knowledge and the control of all the bricks, the technological bricks of one project, cannot be handled by one person, for example. So probably if you want to create a project being immersive or interactive for your audience, you will have to probably work with different people having different skills, and this is important to realize from the very beginning. So these tools, we can see now, they kind of offer a very huge and wide playground for artists, because thanks to these new tools, the concept of stage change can totally be reimagined. So we talk about augmented stages, we talk about virtual stages happening only online or in the metaverse. We can have online performances, artists, they like to work on this concept of digital twins, like between reality and virtuality, how you connect virtuality and reality together. These new forms of immersive theaters, and also the question of the performers, like how performers can become avatars, how you can create interaction between performers and their avatars, and how sometimes also the audience can be an avatar. So all this playground is very interesting, but can be also very overwhelming. All these possibilities are quite infinite, and this is our role as creative producer is a lot of time to always come back to the artistic intention. So because it's very easy to get very deep in the tech, because the tech will be always complicated, expensive. It will take time to master it and see what we want. And sometimes the tech is even more complicated than the artistic parts. So it can be easy to kind of, let's say, slide a bit and be very focused on the tech. And actually one thing we realize in our projects when we work with, for example, choreographers or theater directors and the studio, is that a lot of time it's not the studio, for example, the 3D studio or the developers that are the most focused on tech. A lot of time it appears that the creators become very obsessed with the tech because it's something they don't master, something they don't control, that can ask them for a big effort or for the big this notion of taking some risks, because you try something with the technology you don't control and you cannot plan the effects in advance. And so it's interesting to see how this balance between using innovative technology and answering some specific kind of artistic intention can be reached. So one thing very important for us as producers, and also to find this balance between art and technology, is to also come back all the time to the audience. Because when we talk about immersive and interactive performances, for who is it immersive or interactive? It's for the audience. So the audience will be in immersion or will be interacting with the artwork, with the piece and everything. So the question of the audience is very important. What role you want to give to the audience? So do you want the audience to become, the spectator to become an actor? Do you want the spectator to play with your artwork, more like in this video game concepts? Do you want that your spectator has an interaction with the performers or with their virtual embodiments like avatars? Where do on which kind of layers of reality do you want to play? Like, do you want to have your audience in a physical space, only online? Do you want your audience to be able to navigate between different worlds, physical or virtual? And how do you want to mix this? So something very important in this kind of project, we also realized with experimenting it, is that in all these projects dealing with innovative technologies like XR and with also innovative device, for example, VR headset or smartphone or tablets and everything, you always have to have in mind that the device and the technology is not transparent for the people. So the question of onboarding and offboarding is like part of the artistic journey. You have to sometimes the piece doesn't start when the artistic content starts, but really as soon as the audience is given a VR headset or is starting to be equipped with some device or to understand the technology. And it's very important to not forget this phase of offboarding, because it's a part of the journey, and it's the guarantee that you will not lose anybody during the journey. So most of the time, this is something that we make also this offboarding part of the artistic project from the very beginning. I just wanted to be a bit more possible, I wanted to talk to you about two examples of projects we produced or co-produced, dealing with this question of performing live performance and immersive interactive technologies. So the first one is called Dazzle. It was created by an artistic duo called Gibson Martelli with a design studio called Peu Porter. And they created this project inspired by the naval war camouflage of the First World War. This that you can see in the pics, like these very graphics, black and white geometric shapes. And after the First World War, a big ball was organized in Chelsea to celebrate the end of the war. And people were asked to come with a costume inspired by these graphics. And so it was a kind of immersive ball because people wear costumes and everything. And the Dazzle Collective tried to reimagine what could be the Dazzle ball in 2022 with the technology available. And they created this dance and VR project where people have different level of immersion. So they are invited to wear the Dazzle costumes. They are invited to do a VR experience in this immersive world with all the graphics in black and white. And they are also invited to be displayed as an avatar and to play with other avatars and performers. So I will just show you quickly the video. I will not let it go to the end, but so this is a video of the rehearsal in London.
Marie, do you have audio for the video? Because we are not listening if there is audio.
You don't get
the
the audio?
Yeah, when you share the screen, there is a little things that you have to tick for the sharing also audio.
I mean, the audio is, there is no text, it was just the music. So
okay.
I think you've seen enough, but I can explain a bit more. So just to explain a bit this project, so the concept is that people have this kind of multi-layer artistic experience. Like you enter a space, there is a dance performance, and you are invited to be part of it wearing the outfit. And then you are invited to enter the virtual world connected to this live performance. So it's in VR, through a VR headset, but it's also displayed on big LED screens. So like this immersion is also in the physical space. And some people can get equipped with a motion capture suit and become an avatar in the virtual world. And what is interesting in this performance is that people are offered many kind of entry points in the artistic project. Like some people can just be here and watch the dance show. Some people can wear the VR headset if they want to enter the virtual world. And some people can be part of it and really interact. And this is also something that we also try to develop more and more in our projects. It's like how you can make people not get people passive with the technologies, like how you can get a bit out of this setup, like people sitting, having a headset that you put on their head and that they have to stay a certain time and someone comes to remove the headset and everything, but how you can allow people to be active in the way they interact with the artwork, to not be alienated by technology, because a lot of people don't like VR, actually. A lot of people working in VR don't like VR. I heard so many times from programmers of VR festival that they hate VR, but they just hate sometimes again the journey, that the fact that they have to sit, that they cannot remove the headset, that they have glasses and it's not convenient and everything. So all this comfort zone, like safe space you have to create around people to experiment this technology is as important as the artistic content. And this is something we have to always have in mind in this kind of projects. Another project I wanted to talk about is No Reality Now. So this is an augmented show we are producing that we are in the final production phase, and the project will be released in September at the Dance Biennale in Lyon. So the concept is a dance show. So you have 3 performers on stage, on a physical stage. People sit like in a normal theater, and they have VR headsets that they can remove with a handle, a bit like theater goggles, inspired by theater goggles. So we hacked a VR headset to put a handle on it, and so people can put it on their head or remove it whenever they want. And in the VR headset, you can see, let's say, the mirror, the digital twin of the show, but of course in a very different visual environment, and with some correspondence, some similar stuff are happening in the VR and in the dance, but some stuff are different. So let's say the live performance part is the same because performers were motion captured, but a lot of objects or all the visuals differ. So people can really navigate between the virtual show and the physical show. So you can see the VR headset with the handle on the right of the picture. For us, this is again in this wish of proposing people an alternate reality, an alternate vision on the performance, but also letting them choose where they want to be. So this is a very interesting concept that we have here, and it helps me to make the transition with the question of this digital artistic transition and who can let's say be part of it, because what we also figured out is that if we don't think in the mindset of, like, let's say, digital commons, most of the time technology is developed just for one project. So like you have an artist having a very disruptive idea, and so you do some technological research and development to develop his artistic project. And a lot of times the knowledge, all the knowledge and the experience is not shared with other project and is not transferred. And this is something that cannot work, because it would mean that only the artists that are already able to gather some partners to get some big fundings would be able to work with this technology. So more and more we are trying, every time we produce a project, we are trying to think about how the technological assets and the digital assets of this project can be reused or can be given and can be shared to other artists. So we don't close, let's say, the circle. So for example, in this No Reality Now project, we developed this headset that you can see in the pic, and this is a device that we are now we are doing this some kind of open course and stuff to propose to other artists and other companies to create other projects with this kind of device. So for us, this is a very important aspect of our work, because we realize that this that all the time starting from scratch is not sustainable for the field of this art and technology project. So just to end, I think, with my presentation, I wanted to talk to you a bit about the challenges we faced a bit with this kind of project at the border between performing arts and technology, and it's what we call like these friction zones. First thing that we realized is that the question of time is very, very different in in these two words, let's say, because the spontaneity of the creation you can have on stage with choreographer, with directors, is very different from the time of digital building and digital architecture when you work with a studio, for example. So some examples we had is like, for example, working with a choreographer who wanted to try different effects on the digital experience in the VR, and wanted to like all the time have the rendering, like, oh, let's try to do this in the VR, and can I see the effects? And the problem was like, but no, you cannot, because it will take 2 weeks of fabrications, and it will take a certain amount of money to pay the tech artist and the Unity developer. And if maybe we realize that the effect is not okay, it would be just a waste. So it can be very frustrating from the performing arts. Yes, you can circle it in red because it's so yeah, it can be very frustrating from the performing arts side, because everything can seem very slow and very heavy regarding digital experience. So and what did I want to say? Yeah, so the question of time is very, very different. Yeah, and this is also why this kind of project, they happen in a quite long term. Like all these projects that we made, it was minimum 3 years, more 4 years of development between the start and the finalization. Another aspect is the question of technology. So it comes back a bit to what I was saying at first place, that we can be very quickly fall in the technology excitement, I would say. So we have to be very careful, because why technology is here? Technology is here, so we have some kind of magic happening for the audience, like some visual effects, some triggers, some journey between virtual and physical and everything. So the problem is that the wow effect can be very attractive, but the more you create with a technology that is new and innovative, the less stable and robust and solid it can be. So it's always also a balance. Do you want a wow effect that works just on your premiere, or that creates bugs for half of your audience? Or do you also accept to reduce a bit the technological expectations to be sure that your experience will work on the long term and will be able to tour, for example? So this was also the opportunity of a lot of discussions between the studios, the artists, because what is interesting is that the artists in the live performance are very much focused on the artistic side. So yes, I want exactly this effect. I want exactly that this will happening on stage or in the VR and everything. And the studio was very, very cautious, like, let's not do this because we are not sure it can work. Like, for example, on 50 dates, or let's reduce the jauge because we are not sure that we can connect 100 smartphones together. So we will do it only for 50. So it's always, again, a balance, because the risk you can get, because the worst thing that can happen is not that the artistic intention is not perfect. The worst thing that can happen is that your magical effect transform into a very disappointing or discomfort for your audience, like, for example, wearing a VR headset that doesn't work or some stuff like that. So this is also something we're very careful about. And another thing is a question of, I mean, I think it kind of wraps up a bit what I said, but the question of communication, language, and dialogue. I mean, there is clearly now still a kind of cultural gap between the world of tech and the world of performing arts, that when you start a project like this, that need to be bridged, because a lot of words don't mean the same thing. The fabrication processes are very, very different. Even the cultural and also financial backgrounds are very, very different. Like the economy of a 3D studio working, for example, for customers in video games is very, very different from the economy of a dance, contemporary dance company. So we had many, these projects, they ask for a lot of meeting, discussion times, coming all the time back to the final objectives and everything. So people can feel safe because, as I said, at first place, it's a project where artists from the performing arts field, they have to really let go a lot of stuff because they cannot control the technological aspects, and they have to rely and to trust their technological partners that sometimes they never worked with, except if you work with a company who already has a developer in the team and they work together for a long time. But if you match a studio and a company, theater or dance, it's a lot of acculturation time that, and you cannot, it's not something where you can have, you cannot make economy on this. You really have to spend this time, create the common understanding between the partners and everything. So I think I'm at the end of my presentation. It was a kind of quick overview. So of course, I didn't go in details through the technologies, or I could show you other projects, but I wanted more to focus on the production challenges of this project, because I also have the feeling this is some concerns or some stuff that are not shared that much time, because I think you can find a lot on technology, on internet, you can find a lot of resources on projects, but the reality of production is sometimes a bit not something very visible at the end. So I think it would be interesting to share this with you. And now I'm available if you have any question, or if you also have some experiences to share, maybe that you had in this beautiful European project you work in together. So thank you very much for listening.
Thanks a lot, Marie, for your very, very interesting presentation. You showed us some examples of the use of extended reality in performing arts, but also you showed us some frictions and limitations on the use of this technology. Thanks a lot. And Roberta, the floor is yours. In which way we can continue this master class?
Yes, I have questions, and I invite also the other participants on Zoom or to make questions to Maria Albert. Thank you so much, Maria Albert. It was very interesting. Also, your analysis about also very honestly the critical points that we can meet in the work between these two different fields, which is also something that we've been experimenting with Lucio and the team of AVR Lab, the necessity to bridge these two different fields and to find common points in the research. It takes a lot of time, really a lot of time. And I would like to ask you a very interesting point was also when you were speaking about embodying the audience. Can you tell us a bit more about how you could make it, and also which are the reactions from the audience to this attempt to make them more aware and feel more comfortable in the use of technologies within the performing arts events?
Yes, yes, actually, I think the question of embodiment, it's one of the big questions, because at the end of the day, when we talk about contemporary dance or theater, we talk about this lively presence of a character, of an embodied, we say incarné in French, and this is what every creator tries to reach, either with virtual characters, either with or virtual performers. Or so regarding interaction, we I mean, I think the dream of all artists working with this is to have this natural interaction, like interaction with no device. For example, we developed a project 3 years ago happening in a 360-degree cylinder. And thanks to a system of 3D volumetric capture with cameras and with a real-time, let's say, production pipeline, people could interact with a 360-degree movie that that was projected, and they were represented as cloud points, and they could dance with characters of the movie, and the story of the movie would change accordingly to the behavior of the audience. And what was very interesting is that it was totally smooth for the audience, because they didn't have to wear any joystick, any headset, any suits. They could just so I think the thing is that this is very heavy to develop, and we are at a stage where it's very much experimental technology allowing us to do this. For example, what you saw in the Dazzle project, they allow like 2 or 3 people per show to wear the motion capture suits. But again, it's a process like equipping people, explaining them what they are going to live, so they can really enjoy it and they can know what to do and everything. So this is, and I think it will also answer the next question, but this is very important to make people feel safe also, because when they wear a VR headset, for example, they are seen, but they cannot see people around them. So are the atmosphere, the mediators who will help you, etc. But regarding interaction and embodiment between performers and actors, we also work with some people where it doesn't have to be necessarily through the physical embodiment, but can also be interaction, for example, with the smartphones, like some theaters play that will give instructions or participation to the audience via their smartphone in real time, so the audience can influence the show. It's also some possibilities. So there is, again, there is a lot of layers of possibilities for interaction, and I think it depends a lot on, for example, how many people do you want to involve in this embodiment interaction, because now we know it's not possible to, I mean, for now, it would be, experiences that gather a lot of people interacting with the piece or the performers is not really possible, or it's just online performance, but it's not location based. So it's not easy. So again, it's a balance between the effect you want to reach and the weight of technology you want your audience to support, in a way, I would say. I can see some questions also.
Yes, there are some questions. I would start from this last one. How many people work in your group, and which are the main software you use?
Yeah, so as I said, we are a production agency, so we are a very small team of 5 people. And most of the time, so we are not a studio, it means that we don't fabricate and make ourselves the experiences. Also because we don't work on one specific technology. For example, if I talk about our 3 projects that are now showcased to the audience. One is an immersive interactive sound installation with a tracking system. One is this dance and VR show with a removable headset and the digital twin of the stage. And another one is an interactive installation about energy, dealing with some very DIY electronics. So we decided to be very agnostic regarding technology, but it means that for each project we get together with technical partners. So sometimes the artist already has the skills. Sometimes the artist has already a team, like is organized as a studio or a collective, and he has a technical teams. And sometimes the artist doesn't have the skills, and we have to find a partner. So every time it's a bit different. Also, we are trying, also because the technology is changing very fast, and also the device. it's a bit like we are a bit doing some research and development in each of the projects we develop. So most of the time we are dealing at the same time with the technological research and the artistic research, which is quite challenging.
Yes, I believe so. And so I read the other questions. What do you mean by losing something or someone during a virtual journey?
Yeah, so what I mean is that for some of these experiences, you have to, like, let's say the experience is not always magical and intuitive, and people have to do action, like can be just starting the device, can be clicking on a button. For example, is a virtual stage is drifting a bit on the side. So sometimes if your audience was not aware during the instructions and everything, and are not able during the show to manipulate in the correct way, or to interact in the correct way, or to experience in the correct way your show, you can lose them, in the sense they will not appreciate it, they will not understand it, and it will not be nice to them. So the way of how you give these instructions, how you make sure that the people understand them, but also how you make sure that it doesn't become a huge tutorial, super cold, and people and you keep this atmosphere, especially if you play in a theater or an immersive room, and you can make people dive in this atmosphere. For example, we had this example of very nice immersive theater show where people had a VR headset, and the sound was displayed in real time by the performer. So they saw a show in VR, but a performer was walking around them with a microphone, and it was in binaural sound, and he was telling the story. So it was a mix between virtual and physical. And it was interesting because this is at the entrance in the room. It was a performer who was giving the headset to the people in a very ceremonial way, even a bit scary, because it was a murder story. And so he was giving you this like it was a precious object. And so all this intro and outro, it matters to also put you in the atmosphere, because sometimes having a VR headset can be very not comfortable. So if you integrate this in your story, it will be more also easy for people to also accept and feel good in the technology.
Yes, I think you're also answering to the other question, which is what are the reactions of people coming to see live VR? Yeah, that's, and I would add that is there any, does it depends also on the age, or it's kind of the reaction is I mean, transgenerational and not depending on age?
Yeah, it depends on the age. I mean, we didn't work from our side. We didn't work with like young people project, because also VR headset is not recommended before 13, or like, let's say, at least teenagers. So for now, we most of the time did our test with like adults. But what is interesting is that also, I didn't talk about this in my speech, but I should have, that there is also some, I talked about the cultural gap between art and technology, and especially in the world of performing art, there is a lot of cliche and a lot of pre-made ideas about technology, and a lot of artists are a bit sometimes very technocritical, which is very good, but they can be also scared, and it's the same for the audience by using technology, like having the feeling that it will I don't know, turn their project into more entertainment project, or that they will lose artistic quality, or that it's very cold, and the people will not engage properly with a physical or live performance. So this is why we love to work in this very hybrid project, where you can keep, to try also to show that it's possible to keep the main ingredients, let's say, of the physical performance of the stage, of gathering together in a theater. Like I can be with my neighbor, with my friend, I can see what he sees, I can look at him and react, and still I can also dive in a virtual world. So, but this is very subjective because this is what we try to do as this is a bit like our mindset as production agencies. This is why we don't produce any project where people would just be behind their computer with their headset watching an online show, because this is not the future that we're very interested in for theater, but just trying to bring people together, but allow them to access other realities, other worlds. This is what we are trying to do, and to keep the best, let's say, of these two worlds.
Yeah,
but it's not easy. Sometimes we have to sometimes a lot of people think we are going to transform the contemporary dance world in a video game in a video game company, or I don't know.
Yes, I understand. It's a matter of balance, as you said also before. Yes, and it's very important issue. And the last question coming from the audience: what are the reactions of artists approaching VR? I think this is also something you've been a bit responded quite a.
Yeah, I think it's we have very, very different profiles, I would say, like artists who never worked with VR and are very excited by the creative possibilities. Actually, it's fun because I think the most critical people about technology are the digital artists, the ones who can, for example, create themselves in VR and develop and everything. And so we work with a lot of more technocritic artists. For example, we had this project, we talked about this project with an artist last time who is creating this performance where people are equipped with a VR headset, but progressively they will become blind, and the end of the experience is that they just don't see anything. So it's kind of reversing, like with this profusion of images, of screens, of virtual worlds. At the end, are we still able to see something, or are we just becoming blind? So this is very interesting also to see some artists who are trying to kind of step back a bit on technological development and also use these tools to question a bit the effect of technology on society. So we work also with this kind of artists. A lot of them are also very interested in the new dramaturgy and new storytelling that is possible with this technology. So I would say it's very different. Every artist is different.
And I would like to ask you also another question. You were speaking before about the reuse of the technologies, about sharing them with the artists once a performance is finished. How do you make also this very interesting process of sustainability?
Yeah, but first, something we are doing now, it's having in mind or thinking about the format of the experience and the technical rider, basically, very, 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 very early stage. Because sometimes you can have the best concept, the best idea, the best project, and you realize at the end that your project will never tour because it is very heavy, because it is like, I don't know, 1 full week of setup with 5 people, because it doesn't fit in any kind of venue, or because I don't know. So this is also something very we learn really on the field. And now we are all the time trying to think about how we can exploit the project further, and also very, very early on how the technology we are developed can be offered to somebody else. For example, this concept of having a XR device that you can put and remove could be adapted, for example, we use it for virtual reality, but it could totally be adapted with augmented reality, with like a handle, and you can put on the stage and have some virtual elements, assets appearing. So this is something that can be also transferred for our projects, and this is why we are also trying to document our projects, to produce some resources, to also provide some talks like I'm doing now, but also more like trainings to artists to also make them able to understand and get this technology. So it is very, finally, our activity as production agency, sometimes it matches a bit like almost like a public policy development. So what we want for the future of performing arts and how we are not here just to produce one project by one project, but also to nurture and to structure a whole artistic field, I would say.
That's very interesting. Now there is a question from Carola Gatto of AVR Lab of University of Salento. Please, Carola.
Yes, thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Marie. Thank you for your very interesting speech. And I have a lot of question and curiosity, but first of all, I would like to ask you more details about this kind of headset that you actually were talking now about, that is this headset that you can use in the theater while you're watching the play, but at the same time you can use the headset, so you can switch from reality to virtual reality to augmented reality also. That's my question, because I saw that the lenses are transparent, but it looks like more like a virtual reality headset. So I'm confused about the kind of headset, and also if you are the producer of the headset itself.
So so actually it's a virtual reality headset. So it means that you watch either the stage, either the virtual reality. You are not involved. But actually it was fun, because when we did the test, some people try to put just one lens and try to watch the stage and the virtual reality at the same time. So people also hack the device we already hacked in a way. So basically it's not a VR headset, it's a cardboard with a smartphone inside. So the cardboard is developed by a French company called Omido, and we decided to not use a VR headset and a cardboard and a smartphone, especially for these concerns of sustainability, because we know that VR headset market is very unstable. There is new headset all the time, so it would be very more. I mean, the headset can be outdated very quickly, so it's way more easy and less expensive to change the software of the smartphone or just update the smartphone than change the whole VR headset. So this was also an element of reducing the level of risk if we want to tour this project for many years and everything, and to make. And also we worked with. We didn't buy new smartphones. We work with refurbished, reconditioned, second-hand smartphones. We made a partnership with Recommerce, it's called. It's a French company that is also. So this was also reaching some co-responsibility objectives that we had in this project, and we teamed up with a designer who is kind of working in a kind of fab lab, let's say, to ask him to design the handle. So what was interesting is that because the cardboard company was French, we could also ask them for the 3D plans of the cardboard, and they were very excited that we kind of modify it for an artistic project. So the cardboard was designed with a strip that we removed, and the designer worked on fixing this handle with some grip and some foam and everything. So it's very easy to just put and remove whenever you want. So this is the concept. So it was a very interesting project, because when we did it, now we did few tests with the audience, and it is very, very intuitive, and it's fun because it all came from this very artistic wish of the two artists, co-authors of the project. They were like, we really want to have this, like a bit in theater goggles. And again, this object is not only providing the access to the technology, it's also a gesture that creates a specific atmosphere that has a meaning and that can reference to the theater goggles in the past and everything. So as much as you can give a meaning, to the technology. It will also help people. So the people loved it a lot, and they had absolutely no problem to use it. And it was quite fun because you can observe the people around you if they are in the VR or if they are watching. If they are watching, you are not watching. So you don't know what is happening at the same time. So you have to choose, and you are responsible of the choice of what you will see. So this is an interesting position to put the audience in.
And the audio comes from the cardboard or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. No, the audio, no, not at all. The audio comes from the stage because the choreographer works a lot with sound. So we also worked on this. So as I said, the performers are motion capture, but it's a recording of their motion capture. So they are synchronized with their avatars, but it's not real time because now the technology of motion capture suit is not solid enough to. It's a 45-minute show, and it's not. Yeah, it will drift, and it cannot. So we decided to pre-record the motion capture. So now the performers have to synchronize with their avatars. So it's a lot of work. They have a top, like on their. They have some earplug, and they have indications, so they know where the virtual show is. But we worked a lot with audio reaction. So there is some objects on stage of the decor that have some audio sensors. And for example, some sounds are transformed in real time in the VR in visual effects. So for example, at one point, the character hits the decor, and each hit is producing a visual, I don't know, rope, or I don't know how, visual fluxus, I don't know. So it's a mix between pre-recorded and real-time effects, and also not only visual with visual, but sound is transforming visual effects and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie-Albert. I think we would like to spend more time with you to talk, and I'm sure we will have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, don't hesitate to give my contact because I would be very happy to know more about your project. We are always looking for a new collaboration with artists or with venues, so we would be very happy to hear about you in the coming weeks or months.
For sure, we will stay in contact. And I would like to thank also the AVR Lab team. And Lucio, would you like to say something before I close this masterclass?
No, Roberta, was a very, very interesting presentation. And I ensure that we will maintain in contact with Marie-Albert, because it could be very interesting to start a new collaboration with this artistic player or developer of VR applications. Thanks a lot again, Marie-Albert, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Marie-Albert.
Nice
we stay in touch, and
yes.
I invite all of you to follow the next masterclass that will start at 5 o'clock with Professor Marie Iossi from University of Athens, and the topic will be Maria Zambrano at Colonus. It will be focused on Antigone. Thank you so much to all of you who followed this masterclass.